Hey everyone, welcome to this webinar where today I'm discussing our app, the One Audiobooks app. I'm going to talk about what it is and why we created it and how it can help you get more engagement for your audiobooks. So let me start with the app and why we call it an app. This is a progressive web app. It's a software as a service, a SaaS app for publishers and content producers. And what we're trying to do here is to help you give away on a limited time basis audio content. You want to give away audio content on a limited time basis and not permanently because number one, it won't devalue the content. Number two, it can create some urgency. So someone wants to go there right away and get the product because it's not forever, right? You can actually set up in the app for every promotion that you set up, you can have a sign-up period that ends. So you could tell the user or the reader, hey, for a limited time, we're going to give away this audiobook and you need to sign up by the end of this conference or by the end of this week or by the end of this webinar, whatever it is. So you can actually put a time frame on when the person can sign up, creating some urgency, which is very, very important for web-based offers. Urgency is a huge part of what you want to do. So why is it a progressive web app and not a mobile app? Well, one of the reasons we did that is we wanted a frictionless experience where the customer can be listening in 30 to 45 seconds with maybe they have to provide an email address because obviously you want to capture the email address. But beyond that, they don't have to provide their name or credit card or shipping address or any kind of special information. They're listening right away. So we're also developing native apps that will allow the customer to have a better listening experience, provide the ability for offline listening and stuff. We don't have all that yet. That's on the roadmap for Q3. But for now, what we want to do, the purpose of the app is to provide an audio product in exchange for some kind of activity from the end user. So in exchange for an email address, in exchange for purchasing a print product at a conference or back of table, or in exchange in general for being part of the launch team. So one way that the publishers are using this app a lot is for pre-order campaigns. And the reason that is because a lot of publishers are doing pre-order campaigns. They're providing giveaways when you buy the book within a certain time frame. Like let's say when the book launches, if you buy the book when it launches, we're going to give you a bunch of stuff because you bought the book when we asked you to do it. And so if you buy it in the first week or the day it launches, we're going to give you all this stuff, send us your order number, and then we're going to give you a list of stuff. And typically the audiobook is listed first. Why? It has a high perceived value. Customers believe that, most audiobooks you have to buy and most audiobooks that get downloaded, get listened to. So it's a very good premium giveaway. And so that's why publishers historically that are serious about launching audiobooks do pre-order campaigns. They're very effective. They've been used for many, many years, and most of the publishers do them. So how would you do a pre-order campaign in our system? I'm going to demo it in just a sec, but what I want to do is just sort of say, hey, how does it work? So in our system, there's a number of things you can do. You can obviously sign up and create a team, okay? You can be the admin and then you can create other admins, which means that those people can go into your team and create additional admins or create additional users or add books or add promotions. So that's one thing that you can do when you get there. The other thing you can do when you get to the One Audiobooks app, if you're in the publisher section, is you can basically, you have a lot of leverage for creating a promo. You can decide what kind of promo is this? What do I want to create? What am I trying to accomplish? And you can set the time frame and set some of the parameters based on that. So let me give you an example of how you might set up a promotion. Let's say you're at a conference and you're selling a bunch of books and you want more people to buy your books. I guess that's kind of a given, right? Get more people to buy your books. What you could do is you could set up a promotion in the system for some of those books and make the promotion active for 90 days and just make it open. And essentially it creates a link with access to your book for 90 days. And then you could take that link, create a QR code, print that QR code on a sheet of papers. So when someone checks out and buys the book and you see the person running the checkout sees that they purchased such and such books, they can let them scan those books into their app, and which will show up automatically in the library. So essentially, they're not completely private because anybody who scans that could get it, but it's an easy way for you to sort of bundle products at a conference and sell more books. So each of those books could have some kind of a designation that could say, bundled with the audiobook or get access to the audiobook. We recommend you say get access and not get the audiobook, because really you're not giving things away on a permanent basis. We don't recommend that. We recommend limited time access because it'll create engagement. It'll create a motivation for the user to get there and listen to the content and give you their email address and tell someone about it. And maybe then once they've listened to it and they love the book, buy the print book. So essentially what we're trying to use audio for is to create other behavior from the user to get them to do things we want them to do. We want them to be on our list. We want them to buy the book at the conference or back of room. We want them to buy the book on the day it comes out so that we rank well with Amazon in a category when we release the book. We want to give a copy to the author, a review copy. We might want to give it to our internal staff and stakeholders. So each of these promos can be named in a way to get you so that it's very clear what it is, right? So you name it the name of book, pre-order giveaway or pre-order offer. And so then when someone gets there and it says, get access to, it'll name what the promotion is. It could be author review copy. It could be an influencer and you put their name in there because they're important enough for you to make a single use code or create a single link for them that's named for them. I mean, I think that's, someone would be impressed by that, right? And if you're dealing with someone important, an influencer, I think that makes sense to give them something that's in their name. So all those are things that, that you could do. So right now, let me, I think I've talked about things enough. Let me do this. Let me dig into the site a little bit. And I think some of these concepts will become clear. And let me say one more thing. We actually have a little launch plan that we can provide to you if you ask for it. That is the 6 or 8 things that we recommend you do when you launch an audiobook and kind of how to structure that. We're also working on a premium giveaway that will be more comprehensive and talk about a lot of the levers you can pull for audiobook marketing. And so look for that. So at the end of this webinar, I'll give you an email address. You can email me if you're interested in any of those things. So let me start by going to the site. So right now, when you get to the store, I'm a user, right? I'm hitting the store. I'm not a publisher. I'm not in the back end. I'm here. And so the first thing we do, obviously, which makes sense, is we say, hey, we have a free audiobook of the month, and we use our system to generate that free audiobook of the month, which is something you could do, by the way, through our system. Is you could create a free audiobook of the month program and give that away to your patrons or constituents or users or fans, friends and family, whatever. So you could do a free audiobook of the month. We happen to do one through our system. So we say, get unbelievable deals on inspirational audiobooks. Why do we say that? Because our store, we focus on a la carte deals on inspirational products. And so that's why we mentioned that. And then so essentially we have a store here. So if you go to all titles or recent releases or the free titles we have or titles we've published, these are all links to our store. Okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about our store, except for to say that we are creating a store that would allow publishers and content providers to have a branded, white labeled store that looks like them with their brand and logo, that's powered by us, that allows them pricing control and the highest margins possible. So one of the things we're trying to do is to help you figure out how to get higher margins, get a store experience where you can get the name and keep track of who's getting and purchase, these titles. So it's going to be more than But actually you keep track, you get the names. You don't actually get the store and purchase data because the store is separate from your site, but you can sell, get a higher margin, get the name, and you can actually price the products and stuff. But for obvious reasons, we can't give you the customer's information for privacy reasons, and their, obviously credit card information is all in the cloud, private. We don't even have access to that. It's through our payment processor. So not to get too much of a diversion there, but let me not talk about the store yet. Let me go into and talk about what it looks like to be a publisher or content provider on the platform and how that would look. Okay, so I am now in my library. So I'm in my library as a user. So there's a user in our system could have an account as a user and or as a publisher. So I happen to be both. I actually happen to have access to our entire admin for the site, so you won't see that. But there's a publisher dashboard, an area for books, promotions, and then importing products. So right now I'm in our library, but this is worth talking about. So when a customer comes here, they're going to see titles that are in their library. Basically, these are things that they've listened to, promos they've done in the past, additional titles that are free in the site. So this is a book I've purchased, right? So it's going to show books I've purchased that I can listen to. It's going to show free books in our system. These are the recent free books of the month. We typically show, and it'll tell the user when things expire, and if they want access to it once it's expired, they can get access by purchasing it. So that's another interesting aspect of the site, is if you have an offer, at the end of the offer, when it expires, you can actually put a purchase price in there, a discounted purchase price, that then you can give that title a lower price, say a 50% off. So you can say, hey, at the end of this offer, if you haven't listened to it, we're going to actually give you a discount to purchase the book. So that's in fact what we've done. This book is still active. These two have expired, and so there's a purchase price on them. Or other books that say I've listened to recently, and then as a user, I can go in, click on the book, and then listen. You can see this is it keeps track of things for the user. So you can see I've downloaded part of a track. I've listened to this entire track. Now I'm listening to another track.
Chapter 4, The Fight.
You can speed things up.
Fight the good fight of faith. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 12.
Go to the next track.
Chapter 5.
So anyway, so it's a fairly, you can keep autoplay on. It'll tell you how many tracks there are, how the length of the book, what you've listened to. It'll remember when you come back. You can scrub. You can do things like that. So, but let's not focus on the player side, because this group here are authors and publishers. Let's look at the back end that you'd be using to create these promos we've been talking about. All right. So let's see. So I'm going to go to books. So right now I'm logged in as one audiobook. So obviously we have 600 books in here. So we're a little more active than your average publisher, but I can search for a book maybe that I have in mind. Pilgrims. So here we go. I search Pilgrims. I can clear the search. I can filter by different things like ISBN or publisher or whatever. But so what I've done is I've searched for a book, and you can see kind of the way that we've used this. So now I'm in the book. I'm going to see what promos we've done for this book. So you can see we've done a number of promotions for this book. We used it as our free book of the month, and we have 579 readers. We can export all those folks right here. And it tells us how many we had in the last few days, and tells me a few things, that the book is active. It gives me the ability to copy the link if I want to check the promo and see if it's good, or just simply click to visit the page, or to edit the book. I can click here, and then I can make edits to this promo. So let me first show you what it's like to edit the promo. So you click out of the promo. A couple things here to keep in mind is we name the promo, and this is what the person gets access to. This is when they go to the page, it says access the Pilgrim's Progress free book of the month, right? So that's what we've named it, something specific, and then we've got the slug, named with all lowercase and dashes or underscores, which is kind of best practice for the link. So this is the name of the link. We're naming the name of the link and we're naming the promo name. If you have additional terms legal wants you to put in, you can add those because you are going to have access to the email address. You may want to add additional terms in here. We put a start date and an end date, right? So we did it for 3 months, as I'm suggesting would make sense. We didn't have a sign up end date. You could have a sign up end date, and there's information about each of these of what they are. We could limit the number of signups. We can make this publicly accessible. What this is if you set this up, a promotion in your system, you may not want anyone to see it or anyone to share it. It may be for your team to review and make sure that everything's correct and test. And then you're going to say, click it and say, okay, make this publicly accessible. If we share it with someone, we want them to see it. Promote publicly is different. You won't see this necessarily be grayed out because this is something where we can promote your offer in our store. This will change once we have the white label system. You'll be able to promote things publicly in your own store. But right now, that's as I said, on the roadmap for later. You can set a password on the promotion. You can make it for sale or for sale when it ends. And you can see we've listed this product for sale for half off, which is something we promise. It's actually more than 70% off or whatever. So at the end of the offer, if someone still wants to buy it, if those 500 people, 600 people that clicked on that promotion don't finish at the end, we can put a sale price in there. Then we can put a date that the sale ends at, or a max number of discounted titles. We can allow downloads, password protect the downloads. We can make any individual chat free. If we just wanted to say, put our book up and then make the first chapter or two free, we could do that. If we want to get rid of any of these parts or add additional parts, we could do that. So we could sort of add some bonus content and make this a unique product that doesn't exist anywhere else. So let me talk about that. That's probably, this is a good time to go over and talk about the book. So now I'm at the book, right? So what I can do is I can go in here and I can add tracks and name them and move them around. So let's say at the end of part 1, we have a seminary professor who wants to add some commentary about Pilgrim's Progress Part 1. We could just simply name that author commentary, seminary professor name commentary, and then upload that into the system, put it here, name it, and then all of a sudden we have a product with some additional information that doesn't exist anywhere else. That also means that we can potentially do some other things, right? We could add a subtitle, like this is the Pilgrim's Progress with, academic version with notes from Baylor University professor so-and-so, right? We can change the runtime because obviously it would be longer once we add bonus content. We can change the release date, put a new ISBN, a different price. Maybe we want to price it at $59.95 because it's unique, and add additional authors and narrators here. Add additional tags, right? So it shows up differently, and maybe change the cover. So we can sort of take the product that we've originally created, or the product that week 1 has created and dumped into your team so that you have access to it. And this is your product. So if you're in here, no one else can edit your book and do these things to it. You're the only one. So you have control over enhancing, improving the product, pricing it differently, making it a new product, creating promotions and offers against it in whatever way that you'd like to. So it's pretty powerful in terms of your flexibility. So let me talk about how some of these things I talked about in terms of launching an audiobook and how this would look from a promotional standpoint. So I'm going to go into promos, and I'm going to actually say set up a new promo. All right. There's a lot of ways you could do this, but let me think about one idea. Let's say that you were creating you had a reviewers program, right? Let's say you found 200 people that said that anytime you get a book up, they're willing to give you an honest review for that title, right? So it would be called potentially the Pilgrim's Progress reviewers program copy or reviewers copy, right? So everybody's clear. And that only gets shared with people who are willing to review the things. And every publisher should have a list of people that want to review books, because getting reviews is really important to creating legitimacy for your products. getting 100 reviews means you sort of have a legitimate product right on Amazon. So this is one of the best ways for you to be able to do that. So then the promo name would be, well, this is where you'd name the Pilgrim's Progress Reviewers Program copy or review copy or whatever. And then you'd name it similarly, right? Maybe put your terms in there if you want it. And then you might say the reviewer's copy would be, maybe you make it open for 2 months or something and give people, when the book launch, right before it launches to a month after, you give them this window where they can review the book and provide honest reviews out on the web for that. You can max number of signups. If you know there's only 200 reviewers, you can put it max at 100 or 200 and say the first 10 people that click the link get it. So, you know, you wouldn't have to give it to everyone if you didn't want to. So you wouldn't put it for sale in that case. You could allow downloads to make it easy. Maybe someone wants to just download and listen to it on their computer. That's fine. You just click allow downloads and they'll be able to download it. And then of course, you know, you would add the tracks that you want to add. You first have to make the promo, then you come back and add whatever tracks you want to. So that's one of the features of the system that is in our FAQ and training and stuff. But you would you would know, though, you create the promo and then come in and select the tracks that you want. So pretty simple, right? You hit save and then go and test it. And within 30 seconds, you've got your reviewer's copy set up. And the nice thing is it's kind of like you could set your reviewers links up, your author review link, your internal staff links, or influencer copies, a social media giveaway link, the pre-order campaign, the launch team campaign. You could set up all these ahead of time and just have them ready to go. You set them up, you test them, and then as soon as the book launches, they'll all be scheduled and ready to go. You don't have to do anything else. So you spend, say, 20, 30 minutes setting all these up for your launch plan for that book. And then the nice thing is that it makes you look really good to say to an author, here's 9 things that we did or 8 things that we did to launch your audiobook. Because typically what's happened is that the audiobook doesn't get a lot of love, doesn't get a lot of attention. So a lot of authors, audio is important to them because people keep coming up and saying, hey, I only listen, or if your book was in audio, I'd listen. So there's a high amount of awareness for authors. They think the format's important. So if you can go in and impress them by saying, hey, look at all the things we're doing, and it really isn't that much additional work. Now, there is some work to let people know to send an email to the reviewers or to schedule a podcast that you're going to give away the book on, or after the fact, create a QR code and then email that out to a list of people. Or, you know, there's some follow-up to get this in front of people, but the whole setting up of the things is fairly easy within the app. So this is obviously a high-level overview of the app, and it doesn't answer all the questions. The app does cost money. You pay $49.95 per active book. So if you have a book in the system, you can run as many promos, get as many people, as many downloads and streaming as you want for that $49.95. But if you have an active promo for a book, you get charged $49.95 for that month. So if you had 10 books in the system and 5 had active promos, you'd get charged $250-ish. If you had, let's say, 1 book of 10 active with 10 promos, you get charged $49.95. I hope that makes sense. We're going to really beef up our FAQs and provide some other deeper training on the site. We're still in heavy development, so we haven't created all the support and training things because there's still things that are changing, and we don't want to create all that and then have something small change and then we do it again. But again, we're committed to this. We're developing all the time. We have native apps. We've just hired another developer, so we have 3 developers working with us on this. They're internal, you know, they're people that work directly for us. So we have a lot of control over pivoting and iterating quickly. And this is a tool that we have to try to help you to get more engagement for your audiobooks, to make audiobooks a more strategic part of your program, because you can use them not only to just recoup on the costs you've spent, but to do a whole bunch of other things you already want to do: sell more print, get more reviews, get higher margin for your audio, right? Sell direct, keep the name, build niche lists, brand things that you're doing, bundle products together. And ultimately we'll have other things too, like bundling more products together. And we're also experimenting with some other things like a all you can eat leadership site where people can go and spend, say, $5.99 a month and get access to a lot of titles. And then titles can be cross-pollinated. So I think a lot of people step back and say, I don't know about all this free stuff, you know? So let me tell you a couple stories. I started a website called christianaudio.com in 2004. We were the only website selling audiobooks on the internet other than Audible in 2004. Actually, Media Bay was, and then that year they went out of business. There were 3 of us, then there were 2, and then some others came on shortly after that. But we were early. Our first audiobook sale for Christian Audio, the market was 95% cassettes, and our first sale was a download. And the person immediately asked for a refund on their money. It was a tough market. There was like 30 steps to get an audiobook. It was really for techies. So we were early. We've been in this market innovating for a long time. But we had a free book of the month at Christian Audio that we did for years and years and years. And we had a huge customer list, hundreds and hundreds of thousands. We had one of the, when audiobooks were only 1% of the market, we had one of the largest customer lists to sell direct to in the Christian publishing industry. So we used the freemium. And of course, then with that list, we sold a lot of products to them, right? So that's one example. Another example is if you know John Piper, every book he's published in the last however long he's given away. So immediately when the book comes out, he gives it away on his website, a PDF version of the site. But yet his reach and his name, they have one of the most trafficked Christian websites on the internet. He's probably got one of the furthest reach of any ministry. And he sells phenomenally well when he publishes books. He gives them all away for free. So what is he doing? He's leveraging that free to allow people to discover the content. And so that is so important. We have to figure out a way to get people to find our content, right? Because ultimately publishing is a part of the whole game, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, is that you want to have a leading title in your category, or at least 5. Let's say you're writing for spousal abuse or adoption or something. You want to be one of those 4 or 5 titles everybody thinks of, everybody recommends, every counselor, every pastor recommends when it comes to that topic. If you do, you will have a 20-year evergreen bestseller, right? But how do you get there? So you have a great product, obviously, but then the rest is a lot of word of mouth, right? Because we know as publishers, we spend a lot of time marketing the book right up front. And then we sort of just like, well, whatever happens, it's like, hopefully, hopefully from there you can, you're on your own. Hopefully it works. If we can figure out a way to continue to get the book in front of influencers, in front of key people, and to bundle the book and make it more compelling and think more in a more format agnostic way, not just think I'm a print publisher, I'm an audio publisher, or I'm selling you an ebook, or I'm selling you, but think about transformation, right? Like how do we impact a person's life with our content, not necessarily how do we sell them a book. So that's what I encourage you to think about. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. I can be reached very easily at Corey at Christian, sorry, gosh, wow, that really came out wrong. Corey at oneaudiobooks.com. Corey at oneaudiobooks.com. If you have technical questions, you can email Karen at oneaudiobooks.com. And we're committed to the site. We're going to keep iterating and hopefully help you to get more engagement with new media. That's our goal. So thank you for listening. Feel free to get in touch with us. Appreciate it.